Hello, friends, family, and other creatures of the sea, and welcome to the grand finals of the Korean StarCraft League number 47 here in the top left spawning as our blue Zerg player playing for Team Talon Esports. It's dark. And in the top right on Ghost River, we have herO. And we have a Protoss versus Zerg. And we're gonna have a good time, at least that's what I'm hoping here. I've been watching a lot of PvZs on the new map. I've been playing a lot of PvZs. I actually have been playing so much StarCraft lately. It's been new. It's been nice. I love it every single time. You know what's funny? I'm turning into like a truly conservative person. You know, I don't want anything to change. But then whenever things change, I'm actually pretty happy with it. It's like, you know, initially when the mobile phones came out, they were like, I don't need no mobile device. And all the boomers have like 7 mobile phones and they're connected on Facebook and WhatsApp. Some of them have Snapchat, you know, checking out them Instagram. And I feel the same, you know, I'm sitting here, I'm like, man, StarCraft's the perfect game and I don't want anything to change that might ruin it. And then we get these new maps and we get some even just some minor balance changes. And it's so fun and it's so fresh. And I've really been enjoying it. And I'd recommend people that haven't played in a while to just, I know a lot of you are out there. Just boot up the game every now and again. See what's up. See what's kicking off. It is something beautiful to destroy your opponent. There's very little things that feel better than truly dismantling someone in StarCraft 2. I can't get enough of it. All right, what do we have over here? We have an Adept into a Warp Gate. No Stargate opener. So it's going to be a Twilight Council is the only thing I can imagine. Going for Adept Stalker here. Wow. Now that's a build order. That is absolutely a build order. And it's going to be a Twilight indeed. This is a very small map. So I'm keeping my eye out on the gas saturation. I'm keeping my eye out on the amount of units here that are being built. As Dark decides to scout with a single Ling, it's going to run this past the wall. Does get in. It's always frustrating when that happens as a Protoss player, because then you're going to need to pull some workers. 2 workers versus a Ling. That means 1 worker's going to die unless the Stalker shows up. And of course it does. Twilight Council. Gases being fully mined, which is different from what we usually see. At the same time, this Adept is blocking the 3rd base that Dark was trying to take. So that means that both players here are in a bit of an awkward position. We have a full drone pool here coming out of Dark as he's going in right now for the Link Flood. And we're never going to see what actual plans herO had here. He's going to start a 4th unit as the drone's now just walking past this Adept. We're having a little blast. There should be a recall here on this Adept. I think so, as the drones will be blocking the wall. Beautiful pylon stop here. Beautiful pylon stop. We're going to get the recall on the Stalker. It is apparently just going to die as we're going to get a 2nd block here with this probe. And I think, honestly, Dark kind of messed up his attack. I think he went too quick here with his drones and too slow with the Links. And yes, this is still a Link Flood, and Link Floods always have potential, but not anymore. herO with the win here within 4 minutes on Ghost River. And really, that game can only be blamed on Dark in my mind. As the execution of the build just wasn't there from what I saw. It's like, it didn't look tight. And usually that's one of the things that Dark does very well, right? Is the execution of the build when it comes to controlling the unit. Sometimes the build itself is not so tight. I don't have any problems with that anymore with Dark. I've gotten used to that. I've accepted it as fact, but the execution there was severely lacking. And that is something I can't accept. So we're going to get a... Oh! I think he just could have gotten it down, by the way. Probe's going to move upstairs instantly as this hatch is going to get thrown down. Dark. Couple of tricks up his sleeve. It's getting that... yeah, it's getting that straight 18 hatch here. herO right now probably a little bit worried. He's like, wait a second. Wait a second. What have you been up to, buddy? Gonna come back, see that there's a hatchery there. A bit upset by it, probably. Yeah, scouting for a proxy hatch potentially. Now sees this one. It's like, okay, I know what you're doing. Otherwise, he might need to throw down a cybernetic score before he gets the Nexus, of course. Gas is being saturated. As this time I'm not expecting any type of glaives. This is not as small a map as the previous one. This is one hell of a wall. Is this a full wall? I'm so bad at this type of stuff. I can never quite see if it walls or not. I don't think this walls, honestly. But I don't think herO would make a mistake. Well, actually, he would, but... Yeah, we're gonna have to wait and see how well this wall is set up. Probe grabs a couple of minerals and decides to piss off again. What I'm really curious about here is how herO is planning on approaching this game. We often see him with some very harass-heavy gameplay. Big on the oracles, big on the early adepts, and then with some pressure as well coming after often, whether it's going to be Twilight with charge or Twilight with maybe glaives or just a bunch of stalkers. Doesn't really matter. Just very powerful with it. Ooh, it is going to be straight warp gate once more. So really the same type of opener. And I'm fully expecting a Twilight Council here, but we're looking at the gas. It's gonna be a Stargate. This is a cute trick. This really is a cute trick, and we'll get into the details of the trick in a little bit from now. First, let's have a look at what Dark is actually doing. Dark right now is just kind of floating around with these overlords. Has gathered the info he needs. I wonder if Dark feels comfortable making the call that this is a Twilight Council, because he saw that fast warp gate, and with fast warp gate, it's often Twilight Council. It's possible that he's trying to sacrifice this overlord for some more info. And in the past, Dark has made some very poor responses to this type of play, because Dark has a very peculiar response to glaive builds. He loves getting a second gas. He loves getting a relatively quick Roach Warren as well. And these are all things that are god-awful against Oracle openers. So what herO could be doing here is getting a double Oracle save up and then going with 2. And then hoping that Dark has some type of, over-exaggerated response to seeing a quick warp gate here. It's going to be a triple adept plus stalker. What is this Oracle doing? Just straight up gonna fly into this overlord? Well, there go the great plans. Seems like Dark was pretty content with just doing nothing anyway. He's gonna throw down some of these spores. There we go. Spore base keeps the Oracle away. It's the ancient wisdom. It's gonna move out of position with these queens after seeing the Oracle. It's gonna just take some damage here. Really poor play out of Dark, as it's gonna be losing 4 drones here. That's 2 more than you lose on average against the first Oracle fly. And I think normally people lose about 2. Maybe when you're playing against herO or you're playing against Raynor, you're gonna get 1 or sometimes even 0, because they're so freaking fast with the queens. Dark here losing 4 is really quite poor. No good excuse for that either, that I can see. As the 5 adept Shade comes forward, let's see how ready our Zerg player is for that. So far the answer seems to be, well, he has a couple of links. 10 to be exact. How's that gonna pan out? It's gonna be the question. Well, so far, honestly, pretty okay. Queens managed to get in direct contact with these adepts as well. 4 adepts do remain. A couple more links are about to pop out. There's not a single queen. If that Shade had finished, Dark actually would have been in some serious trouble. That's so unfortunate here for herO, who's still gonna get 4 worker kills. Did he just lose an Oracle? He did just lose an Oracle. At the end of the day, this wasn't that great of a trade for herO, but 9 workers and only losing an adept and an Oracle. Like, I think that initial fly-in, the four kills on that first Oracle, make up for a lot of the stuff that happened after. Because I actually think that these trades weren't great. Yes, he didn't lose all of his adepts, but adepts are also practically useless at this point in the game. You kind of want to lose your adepts because, like, what are they going to do in a mid-game? Like, they suck against roaches, they suck against banelings, even against links. Once links get any amount of upgrades, they're really not that good anymore. So you usually just kind of want to get rid of them while dealing damage, and he didn't manage to do that. He's invested a lot in them. He's gonna follow this up with I think this is an 8 gate. Yeah, 8 gate Blink Stalker plus 1 as well. 2 Oracles still alive. 3rd Oracle coming back in. As that's technically the 4th Oracle he's building this game. It's gonna all be done here, of course, off of those 3 bases. 6 gases, so that's a relatively high gas count that we're working with here for herO. Hydralisk then on the way. We have double Evo as well, pumping upgrades for Dark. Oh, takes out those rocks. That's kind of nice. I'm not sure who it's nice for. I just like seeing rocks explode. Hate to see it. You're a geologist. You think they get very sad when they see this type of stuff? Wouldn't surprise me. It really wouldn't surprise me. Okay, we're gonna get an infestation pit here as well. Most likely a lurker then. Is kind of what I'm thinking of as the general follow-up. 73 workers to 61. I mean, this is a very, very dedicated Blink Stalker push, right? This is quite a few Stalkers. It's 16. He has the +1 upgrade. And he's just gonna go for it. He's gonna connect with a bunch of these links. Blinks in forward as well. Queens being taken out. It's mainly the oracles that are being taken out. That's another oracle that goes down. So he went for 5 oracles total. He lost 2 of them. Still has 3 alive. Activates the pulsar beam. Cancels it again. Couple first hydras on the way. This feels like, honestly, a pretty terrible push out of herO. But because Dark played so darn greedy, it's almost working here. Because there's a freaking hive on the way. Double Evo. Lurker then. 5 bases. 10 gas. Like, honestly, Dark did everything wrong defensively against such an attack. And so far, herO isn't really convincing me that he's necessarily going to be winning here at any point, really. The queen count is still decent. Hydra's coming out. Drones can still be pulled. You can lose 10, 12, 13 workers here. Be absolutely fine. Keeping this high ground could be vital for survival. +1 finishing up right now. Both the carapace as well as the missile attacks. Stalker's desperately trying to blink back. As the battery gets added into the mix as well. Overseer showing up. As 11 drones have now fallen. 2 lurkers in production. First one finishes up. Needs to start moving towards the fight. Can start holding this ramp. Seismic Spine starts as well. We have a big blink in forward. Can try and target the lurker. Doesn't quite get it. Second lurker burrows as well. And that's going to be a lot of damage just in a couple of seconds. Hydra count is falling lower and lower. But there is no detection here at all for this individual lurker. And that means that that lurker can just hold basically wherever he wants to hold. He's going to decide to hold this ramp area. Making any type of rotations a little bit harder. As Stalkers continue to try and trade here with the links, with the Hydras. Don't want to be moving too far off creep, I think, as 5 Adepts now show up. I'm not quite sure. There's not even glaives for them, so this is kind of confusing. I'm not sure what we're doing here, but I'm not a fan of it. That's for sure. Lurker's gonna burrow, gets the flank in, and with the second Lurker now showing up as well, I think this push has officially been stopped. These Adepts need to be cancelled. A couple of Adepts over here. We're taking out some workers. Don't forget, this is still 3 base. There is no serious tech here for herO either. He doesn't have any follow-up upgrades. Like, this is still fairly all-in, as this Lurker's gonna fall right now. More and more Lurkers are in production. We still have 5 bases as well for Dark. I mean... Ooh. Gonna lose all of these Adepts, but at the same time, Dark's also gonna be losing this base. Oh, is he gonna lose it? Yeah, he's gonna lose it. Lose a Lurker at the same time. 7 drones falling. 4th base still up. 4th base now going up for herO, who adds in 2 robotics facilities. He's gonna lose a bunch of his buildings here in the middle of the map, though. This gateway is gonna end up falling. Lurker still holding key positions here. It wouldn't surprise me if Dark just decides to move across the map at this point. I think that actually would be a pretty tight play. I mean, there's definitely nothing wrong with that. We have the glaives now finally finishing up. I'm not quite sure what it's gonna do at this point. I mean, I know it's not gonna do anything, so... Unless you can maybe use them for some type of harassment later on in the game, but usually charge lots are just a bit better at that. Zoom out a little bit so we can oversee the situation a bit better. Lurkers moving back and forth. Adaptive Talent has finished up as well. I was lucky that there was no Lurkers here on the right side. If you blink into that, it might just end up losing all of your Stalkers at once. Here there's a couple of Lurkers set up. One's gonna get sniped. Stalker control is good. It's 84 workers to 76. But the base count for herO, and he's still only on 4. He's gonna probably be oversaturating some type of bases at this point. Natural a bit oversaturated. Ford a little bit oversaturated. If he wants to use all these probes properly, it's going to be 5 base, not 4 base. So we're gonna need to definitely see that. And the probe is already set up to try and help that out. Get that 5th base up and going. 8 gases coming in right now for herO as well. So we have a Ling run by being set up towards the right side, which is interesting. because there's no base there. And this is often a base that does get taken. I personally like it a lot as well. It's like this base can be so tricky. Gate, extra cannons coming in. Loving the way that herO is playing this now. Just full control on the map with all of these Blink Stalkers. You have a Nidus network that's being added in here for Dark, which I also am a fan of. Because that is really the solution, the cure here to herO being on the map and stopping any type of move out, is that a Nidus network can just go behind these Stalkers. And I wonder what position we're aiming for. Is it going to be a main base? Is this just going to be barely outside? So let's not forget, there's not a whole lot defensively. Yes, there's 3 Immortals. We have a couple of Templars with Storm almost done. That's going to be helpful. But the lurker count is growing swiftly, going up to 21 in a couple of seconds. And I think a Nidus network, a Nidus worm here, is potentially just going to end this. The only question is going to be what the position will be. And so far we don't have an overseer on the map. Perhaps he's going to try to run past, run through. I mean, this is all just being spotted right here by the tower. I think this is not the mode in which you want to be operating, Dark. I felt like the Nidus network was such a good call, and then it not being used is somewhat disappointing. Now it's being used, but you already had to move across the map. You're not right away in the position you want to be in. Look at the defensive setup here for herO. He has all these Templar that he can use for delaying the move-in. The move-in is the hardest part. Once you're moved into position and you're hitting a building, TOS is freaking dead, okay? That's not the case here. This, however, is going to be a very powerful position. herO not quite ready for this. Can he throw some storms? No, he can't. Doesn't feel comfortable enough with that quite yet. It's 23 lurkers. As the links have bursted through, Stalkers going in for a base trade move at the same time. Immortal count is extremely high, up to 7, as these two bad boys are just practically going to get one-shot by the lurkers. At the same time, couple lurkers decided to go home as well. Dark is dealing with this as well as he can. These Nidus worms are helping him out so much in just going back home and dealing with these run-bys. Here comes a bit of a flank though. Templar want to come in as well. What the heck is the lurker count here? It's at 20. We still have 14 Hydros. It's 170 supply against 126. This seems like a serious issue here for our Protoss player, who is losing workers at a rapid pace. We have a leapfrogging forward of Nidus worms here out of Dark. It's very rare to see that. Air weapons level 1 finished up though, as the Tempest hit the field. It is still 67 workers to 62. The 5th base now is being blasted by these lurkers. That might actually move in favor of our Zerg player momentarily. A couple of big storms hitting practically everything. Tempest stay alive for now. And with the help of a super battery, perhaps could achieve a bit more. One Tempest does fall. Immortals coming in from the side as more and more Hydras stream in forward. Do we have storms? Yes, we have one more. Could hit the Hydras. Is not going to. And that's going to be a GG gets called. Dark with an unlikely W here on Alcyone. Phenomenal game there by Dark, honestly. After putting himself, I think, in a fairly mediocre situation. Just droning up way too high. The thing is that we have to look at that build of herO and just sit there and wonder, like, hey, is this build any good? Like, honestly, because this was the best case scenario for him, right? herO played against a player that went double Evo chamber, 80 drones, 5 base, I think it was 8 gases, infestation pit, hive, lurker then. While herO was fully invested into a 3-base timing attack. It hit late. He lost 2 of his oracles with that push. Maybe the control wasn't perfect all the time, but I think it was very good majority of the time. And Dark still just kind of managed to hold relatively easily. It's like, if your build doesn't work in such a situation, there's 2 things you can do. You can either blame balance, or you can say, hey, maybe my build isn't so good. Maybe my attack isn't so brilliant. And I feel like that's the case. I mean, you could also do both. You could also blame balance and then still say, hey, this is not the build I perhaps should be playing. So yeah, we're going to have to wait and see. I don't think he's going to repeat that once more. I'd be kind of shocked. If he were to do something like this, I'm expecting a lower gateway count with perhaps a slightly faster fort and with the ability to transition just a little bit quicker. that often feels like it makes more sense to me rather than these very heavy Stalker attacks. And the difference between 8-gate and 6-gate Stalker is not even that much in the Stalker count, but it can be kind of big for your aspirations in the follow-up. So, something to always keep in mind is this Adept is shading into, well, safety. Yeah, somewhat safe. And it's gonna be backed against the mineral wall here. This should not finish, and it won't. Second Adept not going across the map. Oh my god, hero's gonna be expanding towards the third on the left side. This is something I've been hearing stories about. The prophecy has told me about this as a third base. I'm just not a fan of it. It's interesting for sure, but I'm not sure if I'd call myself a fan of this. Who's gonna take the gold? He's gonna take the gold. Okay, now I have nothing to say anymore. Triple Overlord's coming in here for Dark as he's walking into the supply block of the Century. Wow. Alright, I can dig this, that's for sure. And right now what you want to be looking at is making sure that these mineral patches aren't being taken out. So this is pretty much a standard base, but it does have 2 close by gold patches. So it's going to boost your income by at least a little bit. Maybe, what is it, like 10% or so? Yeah, a bit more probably. It's actually 1/4 of the base is in gold. Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a boost there to your income. I'm looking forward to that. See how hero's going to be using that. This Oracle once again comes in, just gets 3 kills and a full drone pool away. It seems so funny to me that Dark, as one of the top Zerg players, doesn't seem to have the first movement down with his queens. Like, this is not rocket science. And it has been figured out for a long time on how to move the queens in particular situations. And he seems to get it wrong every single time. As here he's going to be taking, once more, quite a bit of damage here on one of these queens, fighting away from the spores. Means that one queen is going to die. Probably a second queen is going to die as well. Void Ray moving back to safety is going to stay alive, as these oracles could have perhaps gotten more kills, but the energy ran out. Still, 2 queens going down. I think the oracle, the Void Ray, did end up dying. Yeah. So 2 queens for a Void Ray is honestly not even the worst exchange, as another oracle goes down as well. Now this is turning very sour here for our good friend herO, who already has a fleet beacon done. Is researching the +1, which just got scouted, by the way, by Dark. Dark popped on here, saw that the Cybernetics Core was researching something at least. We have a Forge on the way. I mean, this is Nidus territory if I've ever seen it. Like, this is such a clean Nidus network play. Like a Roach Nidus, and you can just pick up your win pretty much for free in my mind. As the queen count currently at 6, could be adding more. There's 2 options here. Either you're rushing out a Spire or you're rushing out a Nidus. The Spire is the safer option, but the Nidus I think is the option that kills your opponent 99% of the time. So I personally would have preferred that one. Double carriers now on the way out. We have a 3rd Stargate coming in as well. And I'd absolutely love to see what hero spent 18 links. He's going for the rocks. 3 roaches. And an infestation pit. Okay, these were not one of the 2 options I described earlier as common responses. Because I have absolutely 0 clue what he's doing right now. Maybe he believes he's being faked. So he thought that the +1 here was a fake. And as a result, he's now going into links without upgrade. I don't quite know. Now we have a... Oh, it's Swarm Host. My bad. Oh, no. Swarm Hosts are really cool. And their units fly, but... the problem with the Swarm Hosts is that they don't shoot up. And there's gonna be like 5 carriers out by the time your first 12 Swarm Hosts arrive. So I love this build for this map if it was any other situation. But he scouted the +1. He scouted the +1. And just didn't respond to it. Now we have Neuroparasite on the way. Links are about to break through. That's gonna be a pretty big deal. I do like that here. I really do like that. As our first knight is gonna be plopped down here on the right side. The game is not over, but it is a very, very mediocre situation right now for our Zerg player, who is trying to go up to 8 gases, is adding in a couple of investors as well. Carriers here taking stuff out. Knight is network. Here comes the swarm host wave. And I wonder what you want to target. Do you want to go for the Nexus? Do you want to go for the cannon? Or do you want to go for the cybernetics core? Taking out +2 could actually be a big deal, but that doesn't sound like a priority to me. It does sound like a priority to Dark, at least a little bit, as he's going to try for it. He's going to go for the Nexus and the cyber core, and as a result gets neither. Oh, actually could have gotten one of them if he had fully focused on it. Zergling run by now coming in. More carriers still in production. This Oracle almost dies as well. And honestly, what was a really poor early game for herO. Losing all of these units. And not really killing that many workers in the end. It started good with the 2 queen kills, but then losing the Void Ray, losing an Oracle. Didn't end so well. Now we're in a situation where he has pure air units against someone that has no anti-air. I'd love to see a stasis ward. Yeah, that's going to be very useful here. I hope the Dark's going to be microing properly. +2 is going to get taken out. And I hope that this Nexus is also going to fall, because without the Nexus, no, it's not microing them, as the carriers, I guess, in the main base are dishing out a lot of damage. Here comes a Neural Parasite from the side. It's going to be number 1. Is there an Oracle with this army? Is there an Observer or Oracle? The answer, I think, is no. That bad boy is going to die. We're going to see a couple more Neurals here coming in right now. Microbial Shroud actually working for the first time that I've seen in my life. Oracle shows up. Do we have a revelation though? The answer is no, and maybe it's not even necessary. The carriers just continue killing stuff since all these queens are dying. It's the most surreal game I've seen in a while, where it just feels like Dark is not really making any proper reads here. And it's gonna try to send in another swarm host wave. Maybe now it's gonna get a Nexus, although there's still a stasis ward and not the greatest control here on those locusts. Like I said, +2 attack has been denied, but this is just gonna be GG. An absolutely surreal series so far. herO takes the lead and puts himself on match point. And just like that, we're in game number 4 on Oceanborn. Gas first play out of herO. Hatch first play out of Dark. Good build order for herO. Honestly, it's one of the best scenarios you could hope for. Gas first, very powerful. Lots of gas, no scouting. That's the way I like it to be. I've been really disappointed in Dark's play so far in this series. That first game, he goes for the drone pool and he doesn't execute well. In the second game, I feel like he doesn't scout and then barely manages to hold on. And then from there on out, he's playing fantastic StarCraft, don't get me wrong. You know, he's making all the right moves. And then in the last game, he scouts the +1 air weapons, because you can see the cybernetic score is working. He doesn't send in an overseer to confirm anything, and just blindly goes in his predetermined plan that he had before the game. But that's not really how StarCraft works. Like, you need to respond to things, and it feels like Dark is just not doing any of that. So now he's opening up with a 20 hatch over here. Oh god. Oh god. It's been a while since I've seen a build like that, to be honest. See what the plans are going to be here for herO. Ooh. Twilight Council into Warpgate. So where before he tried to fake that he was playing Twilight, but then went for Stargate. This time he's doing it the other way around. He delayed his Warpgate for no reason, except to trick his opponent into believing that it's a Stargate opener. And then most likely he's going to go for some type of Glaive Adept build. Which I am looking forward to. I really am looking forward to that. Creep Trimmer being added into the mix. It's going to be very late on the speed, by the way. Usually speed finishes at, what, like 3:30. Now it's going to be starting at the 3-minute mark. It's one of the disadvantages with this particular build order. Even getting one more Overlord, that's going to straight up rush for a Dark Shrine. Nasty, nasty, man. Large diversity of builds here coming out of herO as well this series. showcasing that he's capable of playing basically anything. Carrier rushes, Blink Stalker all-ins. He was going to go for a glaive attack in the first game on Ghost River. And here on Oceanborn. With DT rush. And this could hit like a truck, because this was with Gassers, this was with a no scout. It's just going to hit quite fast, I think. Prism is out on the way. On the way out, we have a sentry coming in. That is the last thing that I'd expected here, to be honest. Double spores being constructed, because Dark believes that this is a Stargate. In a way, herO's early game here, with that warp gate, is actually shooting him in the foot a little bit. That's so funny. We have a Roach Horn that's being thrown down, because there's no Oracle quite yet coming out. This Prism is going to go unspotted so far. And there's no Spore at this base, and it's going to be what? 3 DTs for now? Is it just 3 gate total? It is 3 gate total, so it's not just going to be 3 DTs for now, it's going to be 3 DTs total. 4th gate now goes down. He finds the exact spot where there's almost nothing there. Still no Spore, let's not forget about that. And here we go. This is it. There's no Spore here. Spore needs to come in from the natural. That's exactly what happens. Transfers over a Spore from the natural. Is going to try and right-click it. If he gets that, the game just practically ends, by the way. And he's going to get it. There's transfuses available. There was a transfuse on this queen. And 2 more transfuses about to come online as well. Once more. Dark just with executional errors here. Like, this was such a vital moment as well. I'm shocked to see this go wrong. As 2 more DTs are going to get warped in towards the main base and try to go for a snipe here. Did not quite get it. Despite that blunder there by Dark. herO doesn't manage to really capitalize on it. It's going to go for an Archon Morphin. Now there's of course DTs to protect that Morphin. Follow-up is going to be 4 more gateways as well as Blink. We have the biggest ever, holy crap, biggest ever supply block that I've seen. And there's still no 3rd base. I hope that Dark is aware of that, which means that really all he needs to do is build a bunch of units and be completely fine. He's going to try and throw down an Evo chamber here. Getting his roaches out, which I think is a good call. I really think that's a good call. I think attacking here into a wall is not necessarily what I'd consider a brilliant move. That's exactly what Dark seems to want to be doing. Spores zoning out this Prism as well. As the DT might find a way to get some damage in. Nope, Spore there once again. Good zoning with that Spore. Love to see it. Melee upgrade on the way. So he wants to fight Archon Blinkstalker with melee upgraded links. That is a surprising move, because Archons are extremely good against high link counts, and also this melee upgrade is going to take quite a while. Ravager's now being morphed in. Once again, a big supply block here for Dark. That's the 2nd time this game that he is in some trouble with the supply block. Look at the money that he's floating right now as well. Doesn't quite have Larva available, but otherwise could at least be producing Queens. 4 more Overlords on the way. 4 more Ravagers being morphed as well. So he loses another Overlord. Probably should try and add in some Spines. Wouldn't completely mind that either. Let's take a look at how good this fight is going to be. Lynx moving in. Archon still alive, as mentioned before. Here comes the flank. Here comes the flank. Here comes the Prism. Will the Prism stay alive? For now, the Prism stays alive. Archons, however, are going to be going down. And herO is being taken for a spin here. Where is he, actually? Link count has pretty much disappeared at this point. 700 minerals in the bank for Dark, which are not being used. No Queens in production either. More and more links on the way. Melee. How far away are we from that melee upgrade? About 30 seconds or so. Drone pool coming out as well. Spores moving in forward, but the Stalker count is extremely high. We still have 8 gateways behind this as well, as this unlikely Stalker all-in after the 5 DT early game might actually end up working out. What in the world is this? 8 Roaches, 5 Ravagers, 8 Links versus now 24 Stalkers with +1 of course as well. And the link count just isn't big enough. And the link count is so important that it's big at the start, because otherwise this type of fight starts snowballing so hard in favor of the Protoss player. GG gets called as herO wins the grand final of the Korean StarCraft League. And takes out Dark. Something we've been seeing more and more often is herO just taking out the Zerg players in fairly one-sided fashion, honestly. Cool little build here in the end. Love to see the diversity of play that he had. A little bit disappointed in Dark's performance in this series. That's going to be it for me today. I hope you all enjoyed this best of 5 grand final. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see all of you next time for a new video. Thank you, and bye-bye.